Welcome to this explainer. You know, when it comes to modern basketball, it's actually pretty simple. The team that controls the geometry of the court, well, they control the entire game. Today, we're diving into one of the most influential, mesmerizing, and honestly, geometrically complex offensive actions you will ever see on the hardwood. If you love the X's and O's of the game, you're definitely in for a treat. We're going to look at something called the Spain pick and roll. Now, let me be clear, this isn't just a basic, run-of-the-mill single-set play. No way. It's a layered, incredibly dynamic structure that's designed to completely upend how a defense makes decisions in real time. It literally weaponizes spacing and timing to put defenders in downright impossible situations.
So what happens when three defenders are suddenly forced to react to two simultaneous actions? Okay, let's dive into this because this core dilemma is exactly what breaks elite defenses apart. Think about it for a second. A defense spends all week practicing their rules for two-man interactions, right? But the Spain pick and roll creates the scenario where a total structural breakdown happens almost regardless of defensive quality, simply because the sheer math is suddenly working against them. You're forcing a human being to make a split-second choice where every available option is wrong. And honestly, that mathematical advantage is the secret sauce of the whole thing. Section 1, the setup and the twist.
To really appreciate this, let's contrast it. In a standard high pick and roll, exactly two defenders are directly involved in the primary action. The defender guarding the ball and the defender guarding the player setting the screen. The ball handler forces a basic coverage decision. Maybe the defense decides to switch assignments, or maybe the big man does a hedge where he quickly steps out to stall the ball handler before retreating back. Or, maybe he plays drop coverage, just retreating backward into the paint to protect the rim. Or they even aggressively trap the ball handler with two guys. Those are all normal basketball problems. But the Spain pick and roll, it adds a crucial, absolutely deadly twist. It injects a third offensive player into the action at the exact fraction of a second the defense is most occupied. It drags a third defender instantly into the fray when they least expect it. Let's break down the anatomy of how this actually unfolds on the floor. Step 1 is totally normal. The traditional high screen happens. The ball handler comes off the screen. Cool. But step 2 is where the absolute magic occurs. That third offensive player we just talked about, they sneak in and set a back screen on the defender who is actively trying to guard the rolling big man. Imagine being that defender for a second. You're already backpedaling, tracking a massive player rolling hard to the rim, and suddenly, bam, you get hit with a screen right in your blind spot. Step 3, the roller gets massive separation. So the really crucial point here is that this blind spot back screen is the exact catalyst for the defensive collapse. It instantly changes the geometry of the court because the defense physically just cannot navigate through that traffic jam.
Section 2, forced cognitive overload.
Now we're shifting gears from just the physical geometry of the court to the immense psychological burden this structure places on the defense. The defense is no longer just solving one simple physical problem. They're facing severe cognitive overload. Think of a defender's brain like a computer processor. Normally it runs one or two applications just fine. But suddenly, in literally a fraction of a second, they have to run 3 heavy applications at once. Stop the ball handler, defend the 250-pound guy rolling to the rim, and somehow react to a back screen happening completely behind the play. The processor simply freezes. This creates an immediate structural imbalance. It's not just about the offense relying on superior individual athletic talent. It's literally about breaking the defense's brain by giving them way too much to process in half a second. And this brilliantly illustrates why the play is so devastating. It's a high-speed game of pick your poison where every single defensive option leads straight to a disadvantage. If the defense tries to stay with the ball handler to stop the shot, boom, the roller is freed up by that sneaky back screen for an easy dunk. If they panic and try to switch the back screen to protect the rim, well, human communication is almost always delayed and the roller still gets separation. What if a help defender rotates early from the corner to stop the bleeding in the paint? Elite perimeter shooters are left wide open for a three-pointer. It's a fast-paced, high-stakes game of chess, and checkmate happens in 3 seconds flat.
Section 3, the EuroLeague laboratory.
To really understand why this is so brilliant, we have to look at where this tactical masterpiece was perfected. Let's talk about the international game, specifically FIBA and EuroLeague basketball. On a FIBA court, the dimensions are slightly smaller than the NBA, making spacing incredibly tight. But the biggest factor, defensive 3-second violations do not exist in international play. In the NBA, a defender can't just pitch a tent in the painted area under the basket for more than 3 seconds without actively guarding someone. But in FIBA, big, imposing help defenders can just camp out near the paint all day long, which makes finishing at the rim incredibly difficult. The Spain pick and roll is the perfect antidote to this packed paint.
By setting that back screen, it manipulates that camped-out help structure and forces the roller's defender to hesitate before the roll even really begins, peeling open the lane. This incredibly tight, packed environment breeds tactical masterminds like Georgios Bartzokas at Olympiakos, along with other elite European clubs. These highly structured offensive systems use the Spain action to force just a tiny fraction of a second of hesitation from the roller's defender. And I really want to emphasize that point, a fraction of a second. In the tight spacing of EuroLeague basketball, where passing windows close in the blink of an eye, that single fraction of hesitation is all it takes to pry open a vital passing lane or create a finishing angle at the rim. It's absolute tactical perfection, born out of pure necessity.
Section 4, execution and timing.
But look, knowing the play on a whiteboard and actually pulling it off live on the floor are two very different universes. The execution required here is absolutely ruthless. If the actions aren't perfectly synchronized, the whole thing falls apart. The back screen must happen the exact moment the ball handler turns the corner. Too early? The defense sees it coming and switches cleanly. Too late? The rolling big man is heavily contested. Meanwhile, the point guard has to possess incredible human discipline. They have to instantly read the defense without panicking. Are they switching? Are they icing the screen? Meaning forcing the ball handler toward the sideline and away from the middle of the floor? The point guard has to process all of this without over-dribbling or slowing the play down. And the ball handler isn't the only one who has to be a genius out there. The big man has to be just as smart. Players like Nikola Milutinoff really highlight the role of the short roll playmaker. Now, a short roll is when the big man sets the screen, but instead of running all the way to the basket, he stops halfway in the middle of the paint to catch the ball in open space. Modern European big men function not just as lob threats or finishers, but as real-time decision makers. It's super rare and incredibly valuable to find a massive big man who can process the court like a point guard. After catching the ball in the short roll, they must instantly read that collapsing defense, deciding in a split second whether to whip a pass to the corner, attack the rim themselves, or kick it back out. But hey, what's happening on the rest of the floor? It certainly isn't static. Look at the structure of the players on the opposite side of the ball, the weak side. While the main action happens, shooters are actively spacing and relocating. Corners are lifting up the sideline or staying pinned deep. Think of them as active decoys performing this massive sleight of hand. They're actively splitting the defender's attention to prevent those help defenders from fully committing to the rolling big man. Honestly, if the help defender even glances at the shooter, the big man scores. Every single player on the court is a moving, absolutely essential piece of this complex geometric puzzle.
Section 5, a decision-making trap. Let's end with this powerful quote right from the source text. It is a decision-making trap built into offensive design. Because of its ingenious structure, it uniquely punishes conservative drop coverages by disrupting the angles defenders use to recover. And at the exact same time, it completely ruins desperate, aggressive defensive traps by freeing a passing outlet right behind the trap itself. It compresses multiple, agonizing layers of pressure into a single, chaotic moment for the defense. As offensive systems get smarter, the question isn't just how a defense stops the Spain pick and roll, it's whether the human brain can even process the geometric math fast enough to survive it. So I'll leave you with this. What happens when the offense inevitably adds a fourth layer? Thanks for joining me on this explainer.